Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Spartan Stadium, home of the Milford Spartans. I'm Kevin St. Onge. I'm joined tonight for pregame with Nashua Telegraph senior reporter Chris Pantazis. Chris, welcome to the booth and welcome to the Spartans hosting the Indians of Sanborn Regional High School.
Thanks very much, and you pronounced my last name absolutely perfectly, so we're friends forever.
Listen, even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. So, hey, we've got a pretty interesting game tonight. 5-1 Milford Spartans taking on the 0-6 Indians of Sanborn. We haven't seen much of the Indians. They just haven't really been on anybody's radar screen this year. But they're coming into Spartan Field tonight. Really, every game they play is a playoff game for them, because if they can upset one of these top teams in the Division II South Conference, that'll make their season.
Absolutely. I've seen them the last 2 weeks. I saw them 2 Saturdays ago against Alvern, which wound up being a 41-7 game, and then I saw Hollis Brookline. Both of these games were on their own home field. Last Saturday was a 50-0 loss to Hollis Brookline. It's a tough season. You know, I was saying to someone before the game, I was fortunate never from Little League up through college to be on a team that had a struggling season like this. And you say to yourself, it's 36-0 at halftime. What does the coach say to the kids? And you just you plead to them about the dignity and pride, and go out there and keep fighting. And they do. You know, there isn't. They have a senior heavy team, and they get right back up and they go battle, and just not a fun season for them.
You mentioned, and what does a coach say? In this case, they have 2 head coaches, co-head coaches in Josh White and Todd Alley. Kind of an unusual situation in this day and age, but it's probably something we're going to see more and more. I happened to talk to Todd Alley a little before the game, and he mentioned the circumstances surrounding that situation. They're both fathers of young families, and the program had lost their longtime head coach, I believe it was John Welch, who'd been with the program for a long time. And rather than abandon the program, both of them decided to pitch in and have some continuity, which I give them a lot of credit.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge commitment, and for any coach, you know, with most people, leaning towards family concerns, rather than coaching or professional ones, it's a huge commitment of time and emotion and effort and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, co-coaching may well be the wave of the future.
Here in Milford, though, there's no co-coaching involved. We have legendary state champion head coach Keith Jones, who is running in 19th season here with at the helm of the Milford Spartans, as the Milford Spartans take the field here 5-1. I know we talk about the educational component, and this is a school activity, schoolboy football, but let's face it, we played this game to put points on the board and win ball games, and Milford's been doing that in bunches. They're 5-1 on the season. They dropped a 3-point decision to Sauhegan right here at Spartan Field, but then they went on the road last week up to Kennett, took the 2.5-hour bus ride up to Conway, handled their business 42-21. What do you make of the Spartans this year?
I'm a big fan of Keith. I have been. I was here for his first game. I go back to the Vinnie Peroni days before Keith took over as the head coach. Just such a nice, quality person. Very, very serious competitor, but he has things in perspective. And as a sports writer, you're supposed to stand right on the 50-yard line and not lean one way or the other. But I have a difficult time not cheering for a Keith Jones-led team, because he's just such a quality person and such a quality coach, and it doesn't surprise me at all that they're enjoying the kind of success that they are.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us pregame. We're going to get our regular color guy in here after the national anthem, but thank you. We'll be reading you all week, all season long.
Thanks much.
Milford band director Brad Smith. That was the Milford Marching Spartans with our national anthem. Joining me now in the booth, Dennis Shepard. Dennis, we've got a ball game tonight. We've got some business to take care of. Milford 5-1, looking to improve on that record, solidify their hold as the #1 team in Division II in the state. Power rankings have them there. But in order to do that, they have to play the next 2 weeks against teams with losing records, and then they have the all-important game at home against Alvern on November, I believe it's November 2nd.
Right.
What are the keys to tonight's game as we work through these next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I was talking to Kyle Fordsley's mom today, and she had mentioned how this is Sanborn be the easier team, but her son Kyle, who's the captain of the team, probably stated it best is that they just need to stay focused. They need to play their game. They need they certainly have keys that they need to work on. They need to eliminate penalties, turnovers, and stay focused. And I think that's the number one thing. This is a division right now that 1 through 8 is going to be. All of them are a tough team. Any of them could win the championship. Milford right now is at number 1, but St. Thomas is at number 8. I don't think you still don't want to play the number 8 team right now.
So we're heading out to the 50-yard line, midfield, for the captain's meeting and the coin toss. Sanborn Regional Indians come into the game winless, 0-6 on the season. They're averaging just a tick over 8 points per game, so not a team that's likely going to threaten the Spartans offensively. They also give up, let me back up. Milford scores at a rate of 38 points per game. So Milford looking to stay healthy in this game, win this game early, and probably put a lot of their younger players in the second half, much like the Manchester West game, Game 2 of the season.
Yeah, this is certainly a game where you just want to make sure nobody gets hurt, everybody comes back healthy. But I still don't think Sanborn is going to be a pushover. They still scored 19 points against Sauhegan in their game there. So this is certainly not a team to look over. There's plenty of seniors on that Sanborn team, and I think they're ready to play.
Sanborn will be ready to play when they receive the opening kickoff from the south end of the field here at Spartan Stadium. Kicking off for the Spartans, likely Colin Gregg, although I spoke with Coach Keith Jones. He was really happy with his junior kicker's performance up at Kennett. 5 for 5 on PATs for Liam Daly. Struggled a little bit earlier in the season.
Yep.
Sophomore Colin Gregg, when he's available, not playing soccer, and he's available to the football team, he typically kicks. But a nice performance from the junior Liam Daly, and that creates a nice competition at that position for the Spartans.
Liam Daly was very solid last week. In fact, the whole Spartan team was solid right down the line. I don't think there was a weak play at all in the 4 quarters that they played.
So the Milford Spartans will be kicking off. We are about to get underway here at Spartan Stadium. I want to thank Chris Fantazis for joining us at the in the pregame. Thanks, Chris. We maybe try to catch up with him at halftime or later in the game, but he takes his job so seriously. He's charting plays. He doesn't want to miss a statistic, and neither do we when we read his reports either.
That's correct. We focus on what he writes.
Back deep for the Indians will be, looks like number 14, Tavante Thornton, and Rex Sullivan. Set to kick off for the Spartans. Looks like we have Colin Gregg will be doing the kickoff duties for the Spartans. And we are set to get underway. There is the whistle. Spartan football on Granite Town Media. Kevin St. Ange along with Dennis Shepard in the booth. And here comes Colin Gregg, puts a boot into the football. Short kick to the right side. Goes out of bounds at about the 21-yard line. Flag will come in on that play, and that ball will be spotted accordingly. Sanborn Regional will take over 1st and 10 to open the game. Sanborn runs a wing T offense. They'll also spread it out a little bit, 2 by 2. Typical wing T plays for that type of an offense. A lot of traps, power. They'll run to the weak side, sometimes short side of the field, but they have basically a senior dominant offensive line,
right,
and only 10 seniors on the team, but they all seem to be playing. 8 of them are on the starting offensive unit. Back to pass is Duquette for Sanborn, and he is mauled at the 31-yard line.
Colton Burrows with the tackle there. His first game here at home. He's very eager right now to go out and show what he can do. He hasn't been here since the first game, and he's excited to be here. So I think we're going to see some spark out of Colton today.
Colton Burrow down with injuries for the first 4 games of the season. Came back against Kennett, had a nice showing there. Conditioning may be a question for him. He was all geeked up, though, in the Spartan Spotlight show to get back on the field here in Milford. And that enthusiasm showed on that first play. Junior Nolan Duquette under center for the Indians. He drops back. It looks like an inside handoff, rather, to number 44. That is senior Zach Cardozo. Cardozo had no place to go. In fact, he probably lost a yard on that play. That'll bring a 3rd and 14. So the Spartan defense right off the bat establishing themselves as being very stout.
Right up the middle.
Not allowing the Sanborn team to even get untracked and have positive yardage on any of their first couple of plays here. Junior Nolan Duquette leading his team back out to the line of scrimmage. Wing formation. Pitch is in the backfield to number 13. That was Adam LePan.
Colton Burrows just pancaked the player down at the 20-yard line.
LePan lost another 3 yards on the play. That'll bring up a fourth down and a ton of yardage. We're going to call it 20. Lost 6 on that play.
On the 25-yard line. 4th and 20 for the Indians.
Sanborn Regional now set to punt. Oliver Soares is the punter for the Indians. Takes the snap, puts a boot into it, end-over-end kick, takes a hop right in front of Hanrahan. Hanrahan fields it on the second bounce. He's got a lot of room on the left side, finds that left sideline, and he's still running, dragged down from behind at about the Indian 24-yard line. We'll check the spot of that play. Nice return, though, after fielding it on the bounce. Senior Sean Hanrahan.
Nice return. Took some caution on that play before he grabbed that ball. Easily that ball could have taken a funny bounce on him. So.
9:54 of the first quarter, no score. Spartans' first possession. Great field position just outside the 25-yard line, 1st and 10 for senior Gavin Erda and this Spartan offense that's averaging just a tick over 38 points per game. Coach Jones likes to describe it as a ground and pound, but they can be a quick scoring offense at times too.
Yeah, and he likes to say that he's only looking to score, gain 1 or 2 yards each down, but we've seen him do 30 yards on the down.
Erda gives to Ugu. Ugu, the big man, 242-pound senior fullback, number 9, looking fine, carrying the pile for a gain of about 5 yards. And Milford unusually going with a no-huddle offense. Tewksbury now split to the right side, did not huddle up. The Spartans did not. Erda under center, surveying his defense, setting his offense. Hanrahan in motion, I believe that is. He gets the handoff, and he's Zielinski's gotten around the right edge and steps out of bounds just about the 5-yard line. Super sophomore Caden Zielinski, 147 yards, a couple of touchdowns up at Kennett.
Right.
He's serving notice that he's going to be one of the best running backs in the state.
Yes, certainly having a great second year. He had a great freshman year.
Again, no huddle offense for the Spartans, so head coach Keith Jones pulling out different plays from his bag of tricks. We haven't seen the no huddle all season from the Spartans. Tewksbury wide right. Hanrahan in motion again. Erda keeps it, gives it to Hanrahan, second man through, and it looks like he is in the end zone. Touchdown, Milford Spartans. Jump out to a quick 6-0 lead at the 9:11 mark of the first quarter. Milford serving notice. They're taking this game seriously.
They are.
Early, and they want to score, and they did.
No mistakes made on that one. Everyone had nice blocks.
Other than the flag on the kickoff, no flags on either the Spartan defense or the Spartan offense. Kyle Forsley to snap, Erda to hold, and the kick will be from Colin Gregg. The snap is down, and the kick is up, and it is good. Spartan 7, Indians 0. Just underway here in the first quarter. Milford on top.
Score is Milford 7, Sanborn 0.
Interesting that they come out with the no huddle, but it's nice to see. This is an opportunity, for Keith Jones to try a few things. Again, this is a tough division for them to come to play. So you want to finish your division at number 1 right now, because there isn't a 1 through 8 is not going to be an easy team in there.
So by winning their conference in the South, it will allow them to play the 8th seed from the North Conference.
Right. So right now, I think number 8 is either going to be Plymouth or St. Thomas.
Don't say Plymouth because that's no.
So none of them really are going to be a tough team. Even though Plymouth is having a tough year, they've been here in the playoffs before. They know how to play it. So
20 state championships for Plymouth. I wouldn't want to face them in the first round of anything.
I don't think you want to be the 1st through 3rd team necessarily, because you're going to have a tough 6 through 8.
So back deep for the Indians will be Rex Sullivan and Tavante Thornton. Greg's kickoff, long kickoff, comes down to and fumbled initially by, I believe that's Sullivan. Sullivan stumbles forward to about the 16, 17-yard line. Not happy with his effort on that one. Rex Sullivan, though, a true freshman. So this Indian program, yeah, they're winless, but they're starting a lot of seniors, but they're working in some of their underclassmen as well. Rex Sullivan is a freshman, returning kickoffs for the Sanborn Regional Indians. Milford Spartan defense comes out again, very resilient on that first drive. They're playing a 5-2. Most of this season they've been playing a 5-3 with a cover 3. Here they're going to a 5-2 with a cover 4. They've been torched the last couple of games. Gave up 46 to Sauhegan. Gave up a lot of points to St. Thomas. We have an inside handoff here. It goes to, I believe it was Thornton. Nope, check that. That'd be number 44, Zach Cardozo. Senior running back picks up about 5. That'll bring up a 2nd and 5.
Like Darian Kimball with the tackle.
Ball is spotted out about the 16-yard line, 2nd and 5. 8:40 to play in the first quarter. Duquette under center for the Indians. He turns around and, well, it was an inside handoff, a little trap play. That gained maybe a yard or 2. That was Cardozo again. With a little inside handoff. Zelensky stepped into the hole as the linebacker for the Spartans and shut that down. Probably refreshing for the coaching staff of the Spartans to not have to defend against a passing team for the first time in a couple of weeks.
It probably is. And, last week against Kennett, again, there wasn't a weak spot on the Spartans last week against Kennett. Kennett was a passing team. They were a running team. A great game last week.
Big third down here for the Spartans in the early going, and they'd like to force a punt here and establish another series with good field position. Duquette under center, wing formation for the Indians. He turns around, little inside handoff again, but he's met by the entire right side of the Spartan defensive line.
And Caden Zielinski and Colton Burrows on that one. Colton Burrows right now is looking like he's a tiger in there, but Caden Zielinski has got his feet moving from the beginning of the before the plays even snap. So the Spartans look like they're ready.
4th and 3, back to punt again for the Indians is Oliver Suarez. Suarez puts his foot into it. That ball comes down at the 45-yard line. Hanrahan fielding the punt, trying to step around the Indians, but he's tackled by big number 70, Ethan Dubois.
And Josh Charette, number 79.
Charette got in there as well. Spartans, decent field position for the second drive. They're in Indian territory off of that punt, and that'll be spotted at the 36-yard line. Give the Spartans a short field and probably going to score pretty efficiently. Junior Ugu in the backfield as the fullback. Flexbone offense of head coach Keith Jones. Erda surveying the defense, calling his signals. Line is now set. Erda under center. Hanrahan goes in motion. The give is to Ugu. Ugu stumbles forward. About a 4-yard gain. Tripped up in there by big number 50. That is Brian Kane, senior captain for the Indians.
The 2nd and 7 for the Spartans.
Again, no huddle offense for the Spartans, looking to establish the pace of play. Not looking to push pace per se because they are taking their time. Hannon in motion, second man through. He gets the ball, gets outside tackle left for about a 4 or 5 yard gain. Doesn't move the chains, but picking up yardage.
They are, yeah. the nice thing about doing the no huddle right now, there's been some criticism the past few weeks about the Spartans running down the clock, walking the plays in. So here we are showing maybe some playoff poise where we're trying to develop our offense a little bit more.
Need to have this skill set in your bag of tricks if if you want to advance in the playoffs. And it's certainly something that could have helped in the Sauhegan game. Who do we have here? Logan Barnhill turns the corner right side. Looks like he's going to have enough to pick up the first down. He came in motion, and Erda simply took the snap and turned and handed it off to him in a pseudo jet sweep. Good enough for a first down. That moves the chains for the Spartans. Clock is running here in the first quarter. 5:55 is the mark.
First and 10 for the
No
Spartans.
huddle offense continues for Milford. Split left formation. Ugu, the lone setback. Erda turns and gives it to Ugu. Ugu running straight up and down, pumping those legs, and he moves the pile forward to
Another first
about
down.
the 8-yard line. Moves the chains again. First down inside the 10. Spartans knocking on the door.
They are, yeah.
10-yard line.
Just the train moving down.
Junior Ugu with those big thighs of his, just pumping his legs, and it takes a couple people to bring him down when he has some momentum.
As long as Junior stays low, that's his big thing, is to make sure he stays low. As soon as he stands up, he's a little bit
Hand in motion, but Erda looks like he's going to keep it. He turns around the corner and he steps into the end zone. Second touchdown for the Spartans. Erda runs to the left side, turns the corner. 9-yard touchdown run for the Milford Spartans senior. Spartans are up 13-0 here at the 5:17 mark. I think the route is on.
I think so. But here again, we're seeing the Spartans do change some skill sets here. An opportunity to get some players that don't get to play it normally. And at some point, we're going to have to work on getting a quarterback in there that's not Gavin Erda and have some run time. So
Forsley with the snap, Erda with the hold. Colin Gregg with the kick. Extra point is good. 14-0. Milford Spartans are on top. And we have a lot of football left, but I think we're going to be talking about a lot of other things besides the starting lineup for the Milford Spartans.
I think so, yeah.
And to your point, getting in another quarterback, Gavin Erda did show his susceptibility to injury against the Sauhegan Sabres. He went down twice and had to step off the field for one offensive series. And he got hurt on a defensive play too. And he's your all-world free safety. He tracks everybody down from behind if they get behind the linebackers. So Milford needs to develop some other talent, some other players that can fill in for him, not only for this season in the event that something happens to him, but going forward. He is a senior and will graduate together with 21 other seniors.
Absolutely. When your team's built around currently the player of the year in the D2 at the moment, then
keep him healthy for the next 2 weeks. Big game against Alver November 2nd, and then the playoffs. Gregg steps into the kickoff, sends it straight down the center of the field. That ball comes down to, I believe that was Rex Sullivan. He misplayed the initial catch, but he got it back, and he's working his way up the middle of the field.
Darian Kimball is getting down that field, and he's harnessing up those players right there. So he's done a nice job getting him down at the 10-yard line. It looks like down the 14-yard line.
I called that as Rex Sullivan. That was Jared St. Jean on the kickoff return for the Indians. Tough field position again for the Indians. They're going to start at it looks like the 14-yard line from our vantage point here.
The ball is on the 14-yard line where it'll be first and 10.
I'm correct. It is on the 13-yard line, not the 14-yard line, but that's all right. Mr. Martin has better eyes than I do. Duquette is under center. A lot of movement along the left side, of the Indian offensive line. I believe that'll set the Indians back a little bit.
Looks like we had two people in motion.
And it's illegal procedure.
Procedure call goes against Sanborn, so that penalty will move the ball back.
First and 15 for the Indians.
Ball now at the 9-yard line for the Indians. So when you're 0-6 and you're starting inside your own 10-yard line on offensive series, and you're giving the Spartans a 5-1 team that rushes for 300 yards a game, and you're giving them a short field the first two possessions of the game, it's going to make for a long night for the Sanborn Indians.
Certainly, yeah. So you're playing for pride at some point. You've got hopefully your captains and that quarterback's going to make sure that the team stays focused.
Duquette now under center. 5:10 is the mark of the first period. Duquette with a pitch To the right side, I believe that was St. Jean again. And it's a gang tackle led primarily by big number 79 for the Spartans, Dan McHugh.
Jared St. Jean on the carry.
So there's a good point, though. 4 missed tackles for the Spartans at that point. So
Junior Ugu and several other Spartans on the
Second
tackle.
down and 15.
There was no gain on the play.
Loss of about maybe even half a yard even. We're looking at the
It'll be
8-yard
second
line
and
now.
15. The ball is inside the Indian 10-yard line.
Duquette under center. This wing T formation for the Indians. Quick pitch, looks like it went to St. Jean. St. Jean trying to get around the edge, and he's met there by Samson Hodges and friends.
yeah, Michael McGuire on the end there.
Tackle for the Spartans.
No gain on the play.
No gain on the play.
Third down, and
Sean Hanahan down on the field at the moment.
this is the type of thing in this type of game that the Spartans, senior leadership and senior dominant team wants to avoid.
Exactly.
Particularly over the next 2 weeks, and
Yep.
even against Alvern, because win or lose, you've established good position to be in the playoffs. I don't think losing position, I don't think we're going to lose
Right.
a playoff spot, but you want good position, as you've pointed out. Top seed would be nice,
Yep.
but you also want to be healthy going into the
Exactly.
playoffs,
Yeah,
so you can leave it on the field in November.
These certainly can be trap games. You get your players a little too cocky when they get on the field. And
So at the 3:59 mark, that gives us an opportunity to thank our sponsors. We had that sponsor list around here someplace, and we're going to search for it. Oh, it made its way all the way to
We
the
lent it down to
other
the-
end of the press box.
we lent it down there. So we'd like to thank Contemporary Dodge, Chrysler, Gurney's Automotive, Johnson Family, Tukes Wealth Management, Dunkin' Donuts, Coco Realty, Demoulas Market Basket, Sauhegan Valley Lacrosse, Crotched Mountain Golf Club, Hurricane Hill Development Company, Maplebrook Family Dentistry, MG Sports, Milford Mini Storage, Prana Salon, Hitchner Manufacturing, Hometown Insurance, Medlin Motors, Philip Aubrey Optometrists.
Hanrahan jogged off the field under his own power, well ahead of his head coach, Keith Jones. And we will be underway in just a moment at the 3:58. 3:50. The clock has wound. We're down to 3:52. Third down, and 16 is showing. So the Indians line up as if they're going to run a play. Well, it's third down. Of course they're going to run a play. I got ahead of myself here. Duquette throwing the ball, looking downfield. That pass was intended for number 18, who is not on my roster. I don't know if it's on your roster.
Dylan McNutt.
No, that's the
that's our
Milford
team.
roster.
Well, Dylan could have gone for a pass for Sanborn.
So
No, we do not have him on our
So we don't
roster
have
here,
we don't
so
have a lot of statistics
But
on
nice to see.
Sanborn, and we don't have an accurate roster. But
nice to see Sanborn go for a pass there and kind of change it up a little bit.
so I got ahead of myself on that last play. This is 4th and 16. Soares steps into his punt, and that is bounces in front of, I believe that's Kimball, and he steps out of bounds after he fields it at about the 40-yard line.
The Indians punt went out of bounds.
So I guess if you aren't at the game yet and you would like to come down here, enjoy today's
That was the punter.
walking taco night over at the concession stand, as well as some chili.
So
and
tell me, what is a walking taco?
So apparently a walking taco is if you take a bag of Fritos, you open up that bag of Fritos and you put in your taco meat and your taco fixings, you're able to walk around with a taco bag, walking taco.
So there you have it from Dennis Shepard, the aficionado for walking
I
tacos.
officially learned that about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
The give is up the middle to Ugu. Ugu running strong like a man. He picks up 13, maybe 14. 1st and 10, he picks up 14. That moves the chains. And the Spartans, again, with great field position to start this series inside of Indian territory. No huddle offense for the Spartans, keeping our officiating crew on their toes as well. Erda surveying the defense. 1st and 10. Ball is at the 28-yard line. Erda gives to Ugu. Erda to Ugu. We expected in August when we first talked about this team that we'd be talking about that combination most of the season.
Yep.
Junior had a tough time holding the ball in a couple of games. I think ball security was an issue, but he seems to have gotten his confidence back, and he's running strong.
He's running strong, but also we look at the teams that that they've played, and Ugu was there. Ugu is a big focus for those teams, so being able to count on Sean Hanrahan and Caden Zielinski as a handoff, or even the option for Erda to just take the ball himself. Ugu is the decoy in that whole thing and helps make that play start.
Erda keeps the ball, tucks it, turns up left sideline for a nice gain inside the 10-yard line. Spartans are just running at will on this Sanborn Indian regional team.
Gain is inside the 10-yard line.
Talking about Junior Ugu, he plays a little defensive line, plays a little defensive end. He, interestingly, and in as much as he has sometimes a hard time holding onto the ball as a runner, and an interception against Sauhegan.
Right.
And he has been spotted a few times, or targeted a few times on the pass plays as well.
Yeah, he's a versatile player.
First and goal from the 5-yard line. The give is to Ugu. Ugu
That's a touchdown.
punishing the Sanborn Indians, runs up the middle. Touchdown, Milford Spartans. 20-0 is your score. 147 mark of the first quarter of play. Milford all over Sanborn.
Again, if nothing else, if you want to come down for a walking taco or a Spartan burrito, certainly something to warm me up down here. If we could get a walking margarita, I'd be all set.
Colin Gregg's point after touchdown is good. That makes the score 21-0. Spartans jumping out to a first quarter lead over the Sanborn Regional High School Indians. And we're going to wear out this south end of the field. Every single play of the game except for the kickoffs has been at the south end of this Spartan field.
Right.
Officials may have to rotate the ends just to keep the grass on the field here as we get into the later stages of the fall in New England. Milford Spartans field seeing a lot of action. Milford Spartan boys soccer team had a game here earlier today. They went into that game 7-3-3, I believe tied for 4th or 5th in Division II. The girls soccer team also doing very well. I believe they're tied for 2nd or in 2nd alone. They beat up on the Blue Knights of West High School, Manchester West today, 10-0. They hang a 10 spot in a soccer game to kind of claim their position as one of the elite teams in Division II. We're going to talk to 4 captains from the girls soccer team at halftime as Colin Gregg steps into kickoff number 4 for the Spartans. Ball comes down on the right side to the Indians. And that looks like it's 34, Jared St. Jean. Nice little return for the Indians here. He moves the ball out to the 31, maybe 32-yard line. Jared St. Jean catching that ball above his head on the kickoff. Kind of an unusual catching motion. Usually you try to basket catch that kickoff or punt. But he came down with it cleanly this time, and he was able to get ahead of steam. And once he got moving, he found a little wiggle in his run, and he brought it to the center of the field and spotted at the 31-yard line.
It's now the best position they've been in.
Milford Spartans 5-2 defense, playing with 4 defensive backs against what we've seen so far is primarily a running team from Sanborn. Duquette hands it off to St. Jean. St. Jean is met in the backfield. No gain and probably a loss of 1 or 2 on that play.
On the carry for the Indians, tackled by everybody.
The whole Spartan line took that on, and Mr. Martin just focused on that. Everybody tackled him. It really was. There wasn't a number he could pick out to say.
I was waiting for somebody to decide who they wanted to say got was the leader on that tackle, but that you're absolutely right. Everybody in blue got in on that one. Clock is running here in the first quarter. About a minute to play. 1:06 at this point. Indians are huddling up.
Thankfully, Gavin Erda was the only one that didn't make that tackle, being from the backfield.
Split formation to the right for the Indians. Little pistol formation. Duquette takes the snap. The give is right up the middle, but it looks like there was a little problem with the exchange.
It was recovered by the Indians.
I think Davey and Philbrook. That's wrong team again.
Got to grab the right roster there, Dennis. Stop thinking about the tacos.
I think Spartans are just playing both sides of the ball today. Is really what's happening. It's really a scrimmage.
The ball is on the Indians' 25.
Looked like the give was intended to Cardoso, but they put the ball on the ground and recovered it. It is now a 3rd down and 16 as time is running down. I don't think they're going to get this play off before the end of the first quarter of play. They're on the line of scrimmage now. Pistol formation. High snap. Duquette, all he could do to get that ball down. Pass intended for St. Jean, incomplete. That'll bring up the end of the first quarter of play. Milford Spartans 21, Sanborn Regional High School Indians 0. As we are enjoying a beautiful night here at Spartan Field. The temperatures are dropping. A crisp, cool night here in New England. Great night for football, though, Dennis.
It certainly is a great night for football. I was a little worried about the wind earlier today, but that's all seemed to settle down. Everybody's bundled up and ready for a great game.
One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot this season is Milford is a predominantly running team. They lead the division in rushing yards. They have the #1 rusher in their quarterback in Gavin Erda. And there were times this season where I thought, wow, a little more balanced attack might have served them well and so forth. But as we get into the later stages of this season and we see some of these wide open spread offenses that throw the ball all over the yard,
right,
like the Hollis Brooklynes to a certain extent, well, to a big extent, Pelham, as well as Sauhegan and so forth. Awfully hard to do that in November if the wind is blowing, if you're in playing in rainy conditions,
yep,
wet conditions, God forbid, snowing conditions,
right,
if you go well into the playoffs. Keith Jones been around the block a few times. Maybe a method to his madness here.
There may be, but I think at some point, you got to be able to push that passing game in there as well. And last week, being up at Kenton, I think that was the most balanced game that I've seen the Spartans play. It really was a passing game and a running game going on there. And kudos to them being able to do that. And again, today with the no-huddle offense getting in there. So we're seeing them do some things that we haven't normally seen them do.
So the punt comes down to Erda, who's content to let it roll. This will be the worst starting field position for the Spartans. They will take it over 1st and 10 from their own 34.5-yard line. Erda really didn't have an opportunity to field that kick. It was a short kick, and as soon as it hit the ground, it squirted away from him.
Right.
Did the smart thing. Cerebral player that he is, yep, stayed away from it, and content to take this 21-point lead and the first offensive series of the second quarter.
And we're heading north for the first time today.
Heading from right to left or south to north, as you say. Tewksbury wide right for the Spartans. Erda stepping up under center, surveying the defense. Zielinski flexed a little to the left. Erda drops back. He's looking to pass. He's still looking to pass, rolling to his right. He has Tewksbury wide open on the right sideline. Tewksbury's going to walk down to the end zone. 10, 5, touchdown, Milford Spartans, quick strike offense. There you go. That's how you score quickly, and that is the effect of a solid running game, and you crowd the box, put 8, 9 players in the box. Jake Tewksbury steps behind the defensive back because the defensive back is coming in thinking, all-world running quarterback Gavin Erda is going to take off with the ball. He just lofts it over his head. Tewksbury down the right sideline for a touchdown.
Certainly. That's the same play they did against Kennet last week. So this is our second touchdown there by Jake Tewksbury.
That'll help the passing statistics for the Milford Spartans. As Forsley set to snap to Erda. High snap. Erda gets it down. Colin Gregg puts a foot into it. PAT is good. Score 28-0. Milford Spartans just underway in the second quarter. Jumping out to a big lead and doing everybody here a favor if they can jump out to that 35-point lead, so we'll have a running clock in the second half. That'll keep everybody happy if we can get the game in, avoid injuries.
Right.
Especially if you're a Spartans fan, you'll get to see some of the younger players and the future of the Spartan program. Yep.
I know we have some concerned parents this week that the freshman team keeps getting their games canceled, so it'd be nice to see some of those freshmen get in there. We'd certainly like to see Chuck Erda get some snaps there.
Colin Gregg teeing it up for the Spartan kickoff unit.
It'd be great to see Gia Evans, our freshman player, out in the field today.
Jared St. Jean back deep for the Indians on the right side. Can't quite make out the player from the left side. That ball is going to come down to St. Jean. It squirts out of bounds just at the 20-yard line, so a penalty flag. As it was kicked out of bounds, the ball will be moved ahead, but still in Indian territory.
Sanborn will take over on their own 35-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians.
So we've seen a couple errors still. We've had the ball is kicked out of bounds. We've had some missed tackles. Still things to work on.
Not sure if it's by design or not, but the kickoff that you're seeing from Colin Gregg does vary.
Right.
When he puts his foot into it, he can send it down to the end zone, and a couple have gotten into the end zone this season. He also has this really nice low driving kick that he can actually bounce it off the chest or face mask of a kick return team, and that can create some havoc for a return team as well. We saw that against the Sauhegan Sabres. He did that 3 plays in a row. Milford recovered one of the 3. Duquette and St. Jean were having a discussion, and instead of taking a penalty, they have taken a timeout. So at the 11:38 mark of the second quarter, Milford Spartans 28, Sanborn Regional Indians 0. Slipped on that one a little bit there. My media manager here giving us a hard time on the air. Chris Gentry having something to say about the score. It's like let's not go there, Mr. Gentry. Mr. Gentry, our statistician,
Drank our hot chocolate already.
he got some funny quips that we can't share on the air, at least not tonight. Maybe when the season's over, we'll have a B-reel or something of bloopers and whatnot from the season. Looking forward to halftime, though. As I mentioned earlier, the 4 captains, the quad captains of the Milford girls soccer team will be here to join us. Should have a little extra time at halftime, as it's my understanding the cheer team will not be performing today. Right. The Spartan marching band, however, will be performing as they do their program, and they will also be taking their program on the road tomorrow to the Dover band competition. They'll be performing at 7:29 out in Dover, at Dover High School.
7:29 in the morning?
PM.
Good clarification.
Yeah, jeez. I'd still be processing those walking tacos at that time.
Duquette in the pistol for the Indians. Looking to pass the ball, does. He releases it, intended for St. Jean. In and out of his hands. Incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd down. 2nd down? Second down. Second down and 10. That's right. They got to the 35 on the penalty, and the ball went out of bounds on the kickoff. Nolan Duquette, a nice-looking junior quarterback, playing in a tough program, but he's showing good poise here. He stepped into the pocket and released the ball nicely. Just a little ball just kind of sailed on him a little bit. The give is up the middle to, I believe that was Sullivan. We'll check the number for sure. Nice little run by Cardoza, senior running back Zach Cardoza. Little trap play.
About 7 yards on the play. It'll be
3rd down and 3.
3 for the Indians. The ball is on their own 42-yard line.
Spartan defensive line looking to stiffen up a little bit here. First time they've really been tested. Short yardage situation for the Indians. St. Jean in motion behind Duquette. Duquette gets the ball to
Junior
number
Ugu.
21, Connor Fitzgerald, but Ugu doesn't let him turn the corner.
Caught him from behind.
First carry for Fitzgerald. He was running pretty tall, actually. As you were saying earlier, that's one of the bugaboos for Junior Ugu.
Exactly.
Fitzgerald did the same thing, and it gave Junior a big target to tackle. Oliver Suarez back for the Indians for a punt on 4th and 4. Hanrahan and Kimball set to receive. That ball coming down to Hanrahan. He fields it cleanly at the 35, running up the middle. He's tripped up at about the 43-yard line. Not the best field position we've seen so far tonight for the Spartans, but still not too bad. I think he'd sign up for that. 43-yard line for the Spartans with a 28-0 lead here in the second quarter.
Nice job by Hanrahan covering up that ball, too, when it's legs started to get taken out from under him.
Keys to the game, as we mentioned, always ball security, and knock on wood, we've seen that last week, Kennett. So far this week as well.
Yep.
Erda taking his time, surveying the defense. Under center, the give is to Ugu. Ugu running strong. He has a first down and a lot more. He's just punishing people. He's brought down by Nolan Duquette, but Duquette got the worst of that blow.
It certainly did.
Moves the chains, first down for the Spartans. Junior Ugu looked like he was looking for the contact. He was looking for somebody to hit. Once he broke contain and got into the, behind the linebackers, he was looking for somebody to run over.
You start punishing the players that you're ready to hit. Nobody wants to hit you after.
Full backfield for the Spartans behind Erda. Erda gives it to the second man. That's Hanrahan. Hanrahan with a little wiggle. He's to the left side. He's got one man to beat. 10-yard line, 5-yard line. Nobody's going to catch him. Sean Hanrahan, touchdown, Milford Spartans.
Carry and into the end zone. Touchdown, Spartans.
Spartans pouring it on here in the second quarter. Sean Hanrahan gets the handoff from Gavin Erda. Turns the corner on the left side. Little wiggle as he came around the corner. Little, and it broke him free. One more move, and he really just outran the Indian defensive backfield to the pylon.
If you're Keith Jones, how excited are you to have running backs that you can just pick a number and get 20, 30 yards out of them, each one?
Greg's PAT is up, and it is good. 35-0 is your score. 9:43 to play. We're at that 35-point magic mark,
right,
where here in New Hampshire high school football, the clock will run in the second half with that 35-point lead.
That's right. So at some point here, we'll start seeing some JV players going into this game, getting some snaps and reps. I'm sure we'll mix them up. We do have some senior players that have had injuries, and I'm sure we'll still get their reps out of there. And you hate to see the running clock as far from a coach's standpoint. These kids work hard all year. You'd like to see them play the football game that they want to play. So.
May seem repetitious, but it's important for the Spartans to, another word for repetitious is routine.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Spartans can establish the routines that they need to establish on offense and on defense, and when they have a team in a third down situation, getting their defense off the field, and when they're on offense, and they can convert and move the chains and score and make that routine, sets you up nicely. Squib kick by Colin Gregg for the Spartans. And it goes out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
That was kicked out of bounds by the Indians.
You mentioned routine, so it's definitely something you need to work on. We talked about earlier some missed tackles. So here's an opportunity right now. The coaches can, coach them up on the tackling techniques, their plays. Here you have an opportunity to get Chuck Erda probably in there and get some snaps. And
the other part you mentioned earlier, about the passing attack, we haven't seen a lot of throwing this year. This would be another opportunity for them to work on their passing attack if they chose to do so in live game situation. Duquette in the shotgun formation for the Indians, 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Duquette looking to pass. He releases the ball downfield. That was intended for number 8, Hudson Lewis. Lewis was coming on the on the post pattern, and Duquette was throwing it on the flag pattern.
We'll probably see right now. We'll see Sanborn taking their long, probably the most opportunities to score some points right now, because if they can come back and score 7 points, they eliminate that running clock.
They have 9 minutes and 36 seconds to do that. This is a good opportunity, too. If Sanborn wants to throw the ball against the Spartans, that's a great practice opportunity for the Spartans, who've given up a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns through the air this season to teams like Hollis Brookline, to Sauhegan. Not a lot of points to Pelham, but Pelham likes to throw the ball as well. Duquette under center. A lot of motion by the Spartan defense, but nothing there for the inside handoff to number 44. That was Zach Gardozo.
You certainly aren't going to run up the middle on the Spartans tonight.
Not with Big Dan McHugh shutting it down.
Loss of a couple of yards on the play.
Supported there also by,
3rd and 12.
looks like Zach Karen was in there. Was that 52? Yeah, Zach Karen was in there on the tackle as well. So while you and I have talked in the past about the Spartan defense, bend but don't break, tonight would be a good opportunity for them to not even bend.
Right.
Demonstrate that they are stout and have the ability to shut a team down. 3rd and long here, 3rd and 12. Duquette under center. Tight formation for the Indians. Duquette's keeping it on a little quarterback sweep to the left side. Short gain. That's going to bring up a 4th down for the Indians.
I'm not sure that was designed to be a keeper originally. It looked like he stumbled in the backfield going back there 3 yards, and then all of a sudden was kind of forced to keep that ball. But certainly right now you got a perfect opportunity for each player on the Spartan side to work on their techniques. I see Dan McHugh's pretty much been out there the whole game right now. So
Oliver Soares to punt for the Indians. He steps into it. Drives the ball directly down the center of the field, takes a big hop. Hanrahan able to field it, though, in the middle of the field. Could not. He sidestepped the first wave of punt coverage personnel, but could not avoid big number 70, Ethan Dubois. Ethan Dubois is number 70. Ethan Dubois wears 2 numbers, number 88 and number 70. Tonight he happens to be wearing number 70. And we have a timeout on the field at the 8:06 mark. Spartans 35, Indians 0.
The Spartans will take over 1st and 10.
Milford
45-yard line.
field position, 45-yard line. The nose of the ball just on the 45 when they come out of this timeout. Not seeing any substitutions yet for the Spartans. Head coach Keith Jones, though, he has a lot of different things he can do tonight. A lot of different directions he can go. Speaking of head coach Keith Jones, I spoke to the one of the co-head coaches for the Sanborn Indians, Todd Alley. Kind of a unique situation over there. They had a longtime head coach, and John Welch stepped away from the program. And over the last 4 years, both Josh White and Todd Alley had been with the program. But both young men have young families. They were both dedicated to staying with the program, and rather than have one of or the other of them take over as the head coach, they're splitting the job.
nice.
Splitting the job so that if either of them have obligations, family or otherwise, that they have to attend to, the other is there. And it's, Todd Alley described it as it's a unique cultural change for the program, but the kids seem to be embracing it. They know that one or the other is always going to be there, and a program that has pretty good balance in terms of their classes, 10 seniors, 15 juniors, 14 sophomores, and 15 freshmen. So it'll be interesting to see how that culture develops over the next several years, and I look forward to speaking with Coach Alley and Coach White next year and see how it continues to develop.
It's probably a great format to do that. I mean, look at the Spartans as well. We talk about Keith Jones as being the head coach and pretty much the call maker out there, but he's got his other assistant coaches that he heavily relies on with Rick Erta and Coach Drone.
The give is to Matt Hannon up the middle, kind of a wishbone look from the Spartans. He picks up 8, maybe 9. We'll see where they spot it. 2nd down, make that about a 6-yard gain, I guess.
About 6 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 4. The ball is on the Indian 49-yard line.
Although the Indians have about 55 players on their team, number of injuries have cut those numbers down a little bit, and you can see just from the sideline, not a lot of substitutions available to Coach White or Coach Alley. But they both said that the kids are enthusiastic. They're coming out for practice. They're showing up for games. And, yeah, they don't like losing. Saturdays are not fun, but they are absolutely still enthusiastic about their play. The give is to number 3, Trevor Coyne, a rare carry for Trevor Coyne. Moves the ball forward for about 3 yards, but it'll bring a 3rd and 1.
So Trevor Coyne is our corner on our varsity team, but he is a senior and the running back on the JV squad, second offense for the varsity. So
starting to work some players into different positions in anticipation of either a lot of playing time in the second half, a lot of playing time next week perhaps at Conval, and in the event that a lead contributor goes down with an injury or tweaks something, you want to have those key substitutes ready to go. Little wishbone formation again. The give is to Ugu. Ugu gets the first down and moves the pile forward a little bit more. Colton Burrows just looks like he's having so much fun out there.
He is, I think.
Absolutely leveled Cardozo.
Cardoza on the stop for the
Mentioned Trevor Coyne being out there. Trevor Coyne's a very fast runner. He's super fast. It's nice to see him get some reps on that varsity team on the offense right now. Because I'm sure as we get down to the playoffs, and there'll be opportunities for him.
Hussey comes wide left for the Spartans, still with that mini wishbone formation behind Erda. 1st and 10 at the 5:56 mark of the second quarter. Erda turns around, gives it to Logan Barnhill. Barnhill following his blockers. Looks to me like the game plan may have changed a little bit here. And now with the score, 35-0. Head coach Keith Jones looking to keep this clock rolling.
Yep.
A lot of inside running, and as long as they're moving the chains and they're not getting into third and long situations, which you can avoid when you avoid penalties, I think he seems to be content to allow this clock to continue to run.
I think so. I think probably content looking to get the through the half and then make the changes on the team then.
He may be looking to get to the concession stand for a walking taco before they sell out. I'm not sure.
Or the Spartan burrito. I also heard there's chili over there. We also have honey this year. Right now we've got Big Mike here in Milford. Makes his own honey just right down the street.
Give is in the backfield to Darian Kimball, where he was met by the Indians there. Lost a yard, maybe two.
Tackle by number 18, who we don't know who he is right now.
On the stop for the Indians.
I mentioned the concession stand selling Big Mike's honey. So it's all natural honey, sold by the pound. It's $11 a pound. The Spartans get $1 for every pound sold. Actually, but the hives are right across the street from the field here, so it's nice local.
Eric Hussey wide left for the Spartans. Mini bone behind Erda. The give is up the middle to number 26. That is Kyle Boucher. Boucher gets a nice little run. That's going to move the change for the Spartans. Kind of nice to see some new names and players running the ball for the Spartans. Have to look down at my roster to make sure I'm calling the right name and number.
Certainly is nice to see, but you butchered the Boucher.
Did I? Boucher?
It's Boucher.
Is this Bobby Boucher's brother?
It is
from the Water Boy? Some fine quality, high quality H2O here.
Exactly.
So Kyle Boucher with a nice gain moves the chains for the Spartans. 1st and 10 on the 30-yard line. Tyler Hamlin in the game for the Spartans. The give is to, that is Coyne again, off tackle to the right side. Nice gain for Trevor Coyne, showing that burst of speed that you talked about. He got into the hole and kind of disappeared into the hole in and amongst the big men, but kind of came squirting out the other end.
All right. I expected that we'll see more of Trevor as the season goes. Trevor is a senior. Played, I believe he played his freshman year and sophomore year, and then I think he played his freshman year, took 2 years off, and is back for his senior year now.
2nd down and 4 for the Spartans, so a very manageable 2nd down as the Spartans continue to move the ball, and they're content to let the clock run, huddling up now and taking their time at the line of scrimmage. Erda turns around, hands it to
Kyle Boucher.
That was Bobby Boucher's brother again.
Right.
Kyle Boucher on the carry.
I'm not going to call him Kyle. I'm going to say Bobby Boucher's brother all game. All right, guys. That's I'm just telling you.
The water boy with 2 yards.
The water boy's brother picks up about a yard on that play. Maybe it looks like he was met at the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 4 for the Spartans. Ball is spotted at the 24-yard line. Hussey to the left. Mini bone behind Erda. Erda under center. The give is up the middle to Ryan Seal. Seal with a carry. Looks like he's going to move the chains. We're waiting for the signal from the officials. Depends on the spot of the ball.
Yeah, we'll have to measure this one.
It might have to measure. We haven't had a measurement yet all night. They're saying he's short. That's going to be a fourth and inches. First carry for Ryan Seal so far in the game, and the first time I think I've called his name this season as well.
Right.
Seal, Kimball, Coyne in the backfield. Hussey wide left. Erda under center. Host of new runners for the Spartans. The give is to Kimball. Kimball steps across
Trevor
the line.
Coyne.
I'm sorry, Coyne.
Yeah.
Coyne.
On the carry for the Spartans.
Trevor Coyne, a little off tackle play to the right side. Went to high school with Trevor's mom, actually, Julie Savillo
Right.
coin.
Yep.
I'm sure she's in the stands here tonight. Shout out to Julie in the class of 1987. You were in that class of 1987.
I was a class of
Did-
87,
Did you
yeah.
graduate?
I did.
You did.
I did.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, I was the
Why were
walking
you-
taco maker.
Why were you so surprised when you said that? Julie was also a member of that class.
Right.
Spartans with a first down. Far hash mark here at Spartan Field. The give is this time to Kimball. Kimball's going, racing to the end, pylon, and he is tackled just short of a touchdown inside the 5-yard line. Kimball, nice run, kind of a sweep action to the left, turned the corner, squared his shoulders up. I thought he was going to be in a foot race to the pylon. Looked like he tried to squeeze that play in a little tighter. I think if he had kept it wide and kept stringing it out, he might have been able to pick up, if not a couple more yards, maybe even the touchdown. As it is, though, it will be a 1st and 1 as the ball is spotted on the 1-yard line.
If we get the playoff.
Clock is running here. 30 seconds remaining in the first half of play. Spartans are coming out to the line of scrimmage now.
So Coach Jones has kept his offensive line, but he's changed the backfield.
Erda under center. He turns around, gives it to Ryan Seal. Ryan up the middle. It'll be a question of where the spot is. It is a touchdown. Milford Spartans. Ryan Seal, senior, little used running back for the Spartans, takes that inside handoff right up the gut. Left guard, pretty much right between the left guard and the center.
Yep.
Squeezes that in for a touchdown, and the Spartans 41-0 over the Indians of Sanborn Regional. And we have an injury on the field. Hard to identify the player that is down. I might be Nolan Duquette. That would be a tough blow to the Indians, their starting quarterback, if I have the number correct. Of course, we'll check that for you in just a moment. Coming up at halftime will be the marching Spartan Band as they perform their 2019 program, a program they're taking on the road tomorrow at the band competition at Dover High School. Their call time, 7:29 on the field at Dover High School. The Milford cheer team will not be performing this evening. Apparently a few injuries amongst the cheerleading corps, so they're going to take the week off from their performance, but we expect them to come back strong, especially for that Alvern game on November 2nd.
Right, and they'll be getting ready for their cheer season as well. Their competitions will be coming up.
Injured player on the field is up and hobbling. It's number 18, the one player we don't have on the roster tonight.
But he's been very active on the team. You hate to see those injuries happen, especially in a game like this.
So the Spartans will attempt the extra point after touchdown. Kyle Forsley is your long snapper. Gavin Erda, typically the holder, but I'm not sure if that's who we have out there now. 15 is Andrew Burns will be your holder, also a senior. Colin Gregg is your kicker. Snap is good, hold is good, kick is up, and the kick is also good. 42-0 is your score. Milford Spartans all over the Indians of Sanborn Regional High School.
The score is Milford 42, Sanborn Regional 0.
So the one thing we were looking for late in that first half was whether or not the Indians could mount a sustained drive, maybe put some points on the board, maybe avoid the 35-point rule in the second half. They're not going to be able to do that. Even if they return this kickoff for a touchdown, the spread will still be 35.
A little surprised that Sanborn stuck to the running game. The pregame here, they were out in the field early today, and they were throwing some passes. He looked like he was pretty accurate, and so I'm a little surprised with the amount that they ran down the middle, even as they got behind.
And he's had time. Duquette, when he steps back into the pocket, he hasn't been, harassed. He hasn't been hurried. He's had the opportunity to release the ball. A couple of his passes sailed on him. As a junior quarterback, looking to work on that skill set. If he stays with it, he could be an interesting player to watch next season. Squib kick by Colin Gregg, fielded by the up man for the Indians. That was number 42, Angel De La Cruz. De La Cruz steps out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. And we are at 7.7 seconds remaining in the first half of play. Spartans really just have to hold on for one more play here. It'll be interesting to see whether Sanborn even runs a play or if they just take a knee.
Right. On the Indians' 30-yard line, where the Indians will have a 1st and 10.
Gavin Erda is not out there on defense. Andrew Burns looks like he's in for Erda.
And they did take a knee.
They took the knee, so at the half, the clock is going to wind, and that will run out the first half of play. End of the first half of play. Milford 42, Sanborn Indians 0, as we are in the later stages of the second half of Division II South Conference football. Milford Spartans at 5-1, looking to improve to 6-1.
Right, yep. And so we'll see what interesting what that conversation is at halftime. We'll see what we have coming in at the for that second half, and maybe we'll be able to pull up some of the scores of the other 15 teams that are playing on Friday Night Football. So.
We'll be right back after this performance by the Milford Spartan Marching Band performing their 2019 program. They have a formal name for it, and I know I've been saying it wrong all season. I have to confess, I don't know what the formal name is.
You should.
I should know. I have a senior and a sophomore in the program. I should know the name of the program they're doing, but just judging from the placards they put out there and the music that they're performing, I'm calling it Space.
Yeah.
Mr. Smith and the Marching Spartan Band would like to thank the Milford High School music boosters for their efforts this year and their support of music at Milford High School. Thank you also to the National Chamber Orchestra and Chapel Tractor for their donations. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Marching Spartans. Its 2019 mission to explore strange new music, to seek out new experiences and face new challenges, to boldly go where no Spartan has gone before. This evening's musical selections include Mars and Jupiter by Gustav Holst, Derivatus Dancer in the Dark by Bjork, and music from Michael Giacchino's Star Trek. The band is led under the field by drum major Catherine Rayano. The color guard captain is Samantha Boyvik. The percussion captains are Aiden Siddall and Fiona Birch. Soloists this evening are Coleman Chappell, Jack Hansen, and Brian Melville. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your Milford High School Marching Spartans.
every now, cold nights. It's been busy, but not busy. The week in 2 weeks is going to be smoking. I'm thinking of, I'll give you a call later on. I have a big idea for that last tournament. It might work, it might not.
That was the Milford Marching Spartans at halftime here at Milford Spartan Field, where the Milford Spartans are winning 42-0 at halftime over the Indians of Sanborn Regional High School. Joining me now at halftime are 4 captains from the Milford Spartan girls soccer team. Ladies, welcome to the booth. Who do we have here? Emmy Sullivan, Aspen Talapa, Jade Gregg, and Sid Tebow. Yeah. Did I pronounce that right, Sid?
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me, ladies, how's your season going so far?
Pretty well. We started off really strong. We were 6-0 at the beginning of the season. We had a couple of rough games, but definitely now we're back. We're back on the incline.
Well, you're saying you're back. You had a game today. How'd that go?
We did. We won 10-0.
Who'd you beat?
Manchester West.
Now, what is that? That puts your record at what now?
10-3-1.
10-3-1. And what position are you guys in Division II here in the state?
We're 5th? Yeah.
There you go. A lot of scoring. You guys, who plays offense here?
I do. Emmy.
Three of them, and then I'm a goalie.
You're the goalie? So how many goals have you allowed then? Let's do that.
How many? A lot. We have a pretty. We graduated 10 seniors last year, and many of them played defense. So we kind of have a new-ish defense, and it took a little bit working it out in the beginning, but we're
game with the 6 goals, but other than that, not that many.
A lot of coordinating your defense in front of you.
We're really connecting now. It took a lot in the beginning. I think the oldest is a junior right now, and then we have 4 freshmen and 2 sophomores.
What do you think?
And we have Megan on.
So what do you think the strength of this team is? Is it your defense now, or do you think it's your offense?
It's definitely our attacking third. Yeah.
I would say our attacking third. We lost a lot of defenders last year when a lot of our seniors graduated. We've definitely improved since the beginning of the season, but our attacking third is very strong. We have a lot of older players that have been on the team for a lot of years.
How many games left in your regular season?
2.
2 games left. You hear any games here at home or?
Yes, our senior night next Friday at 5 on the stadium field.
Awesome. Well, we're going to look forward to that. We'll try to get some cameras to your game. If not that game, one of your games at least this season. We hope to see you guys on Granite Town Media. Thank you so much for joining us at halftime. Good luck in the last 2 regular season games and good luck in the playoffs as well.
Thank you so much.
Take care, ladies.
Thank you.
That was 4 captains from the girls soccer team here at Milford. 10-3-1, I believe, is their record. Emmy Sullivan, Aspen Talapa, Jade Gregg, and Sid Tebow. They had a game this evening, or earlier this afternoon, I should say, Manchester West at Manchester West. 10-0 was the final score. They dropped a dime on the Blue Knights of Manchester West. Joining me back in the booth in just a moment, he's working on his walking taco, Dennis Shepard. I think we switched headphones here, Dennis, so we're going to get you set up in just a moment. And we're going to go over some numbers from that first half of play, but the most important number you can take away from the first half of play, 42 points by the Spartans, 0 points by the Indians.
Yep, so
you need a drink with that, Dennis? You need to, wash that down a little bit?
In fact, Chris had some hot chocolate up here, but he drank that on us. So,
So we have about 2 minutes remaining before the second half of play will get started. We'll grab some numbers here from our statistician. 42-0 is your score. Time of possession, pretty balanced there, actually. 12, just a tick under 13 minutes for the Spartans. Sanborn was at 11. Passing, Gavin Erta connected on 1 pass for 65 yards and a touchdown. Beautiful play to, I believe it was Jake Tewksbury. 0 for 5 for Sanborn, 0 yards in the passing attack. 5 rushing touchdowns for the Spartans. 26 rushes for 213 yards on the game. Sanborn, just, if these numbers are right, wow. 14 attempted rushes, -1 yard in the rushing game for Sanborn. 2 penalties for Milford, 10 yards. 1 penalty on Sanborn for 5 yards. No turnovers by either team.
I guess that's the positive for both teams. When you look at if you're going to take something away, you don't want to have the turnovers. So.
I'm getting ripped here for questioning the statistics here, but they're accurate, and I'm being told they were verified too. So,
no, certainly a tough half for Sanborn. Again, I'm a little bit surprised on the way they came out and ran it up the middle. There's some big boys on the Spartan side up the middle, and again, when we saw them at the pregame doing some passing. I really expected to come up with a couple, either some swing passes or tight end passes or something. Certainly not running up the middle.
So we're just about ready to get the second half of play started. Sanborn will be kicking off to the Spartans. They'll receive at the south end of the field, where most of that action in the first half of play. We didn't have a stat on that. Time of possession at the southern end of the field. We'll look for that from our crack statisticians here. But the teams are pretty much buried at the southern end of this field most of the first half of play.
Right. In fact, it wasn't until the second half when we switched the sides of the field that we went to the other side.
So a very lively performance by the Spartan Marching Band as they get ready to travel to Dover for the Dover competition tomorrow night. 7:29 will be the performance time. I said it was a call time. 7:29 p.m. at night. It'll be a late night return for the Spartans after the band trip. Oliver Soares teeing it up for the Indians. They'll be kicking off to the Spartans.
Certainly a beautiful night for football. I'm looking down at the field down at the 50-yard line approximately. Look at the coach in the green jacket. You got Coach Scannell there. I think he's ready for Siberia.
It is chilly. Temperatures dropping into the high 30s by the end of the evening. Soares set to kick off.
Got to readjust the ball. The wind blowing things around there on the field.
Changed our kicker on me now. It's Evan Burke will be kicking off for the Indians. So I expect we're going to see a whole host of new players for both teams in this second half, where we will have a running clock. Ball comes down in front of, I believe that's Liam Daly, lets it bounce. Now he picks it up, working along the right sideline. There's one man to beat, makes a move. Oh, looks like he stepped out of bounds at about the 39-yard line. Liam Daly, who does a lot of the kicking for the Spartans, back on that kickoff return. Had a nice return. Unfortunately, just stepped out of bounds at the 39-yard line of the Spartans. Well, they'll take over here in the second half with a new quarterback. Trotting out there is the little brother of senior quarterback Gavin Erda, Chuck Erda, right. Freshman for the Spartans, getting some quality minutes here in a varsity game. 1st and 10 for the Spartans with some new players on the field, calling for some additional players as
Trice, trying to get them out there.
Trice Cody, also a freshman running back, running out onto the field. Clock is running. Play clock is likely running. Got a number of players looking to get into the game, and Dylan McNutt, a senior, says, "Well, if you're short on players, I'm coming out. I'm playing."
Right.
Dylan McNutt says, "There's an open spot on the field. I'm taking it." So he does. And here comes Chuck Erda. He had a couple of snaps in the Sauhegan game when his big brother went down with a couple of injuries. Offensive linemen switching positions along the line. Everybody's set now. The give looks like it was to Trice Cody, second man through the hole. Short gain on the play. Chuck Erda probably learning from his big brother Gavin how to handle the ball, show it, pull it, put it in there, take it out, give it to the second man through, maybe keep it. If he's like his big brother, he's going to keep it a lot.
That's for sure.
Here come the Spartans on the second down play, 2nd and 9. Erda gives it to the fullback up the middle, short gain. We'll have to identify them as they come up from the pile. Bottom of that pile is number 26. That is Kyle Boucher. Bobby's younger brother. Yep. Bobby Boucher's brother. A lot of players shuttling in and out here, so keeping track of them will be a team effort, I think. Dennis and Dan, we're going to have to work on this one together. Coming wide left is junior Tyler Hamlin. Single setback behind Erda. 3rd and 7. The give is to McNutt. McNutt turns the corner, first down, still rumbling down the left sideline, where he is tackled by number 42 of the Indians. That is Angel De La Cruz. Nice gain by McNutt on a rare carry for him. First down, moves the chains.
Where the Spartans will take over 1st and 10. Angel De La Cruz on the stop for the Indians.
Angel De La Cruz, nice tackle, form tackle along the sideline here, keeping Dylan McNutt from taking it to the house. Single setback, I believe is Boucher. Liam Daly in motion. Erda gives it to Daly. Daly was the second man through. Fake was to the fullback on the dive, and Boucher, Daly, who had kind of gone in motion, followed the dive man through the hole, and he got the ball.
On the stop for the Indians.
Indians varsity starters still in there. They don't have a lot of substitutes along their sidelines, so this is a good test for young players playing against true varsity players on the other sideline. Erda keeps it, tucks it, turns the corner on the left side. Short gain for Gavin Erda, where he is brought down by two Indians. That would be numbers 53 Mason Coco and number 59 Oliver Soares.
So the Spartans have a new line in there right now. That was a nice block over there by Jordan Post, as well as Ben Kilgore opening up a hole there for Chuck.
Ethan O'Connor goes to the wide side of the field on the right side. Single setback behind Erda. Erda, not sure if he's giving it or keeping it.
I think they shared it.
They shared it? So they both picked up about a half a yard on that play.
Off the center block from number 62, Jordan Clark.
So we have a whole host of new players shuttling in and out here. And that brings up a 4th down and 4 for the Milford Spartans. They are, good field position inside of Indian territory. Not punting or kicking the field goal here. Erda trying to convert, 4th and 4, turns the corner, left side, he's got the first down, and he bowls his way to the 21-yard line. That's going to move the chains for the Spartans. Nice offensive series so far starting this second half.
It is. We have, like I mentioned, we had a completely different offensive line out there right now, but still playing the Spartan way where they're moving the tackles from right to left. We had Ben Kilgore came over to the left side of the line this time, made an outstanding block on that left side over on the I guess it's the middle linebacker, and Erda took that right around the end.
All 5'7", 135 pounds of Chuck Erda put himself into that final play, and he's playing like a bully. Erda gives it to the up back, short gain, second down, probably 8 yards, probably a 2-yard gain here. Erda, what I liked about that previous play, Dennis, is he finished the play.
He did.
He was running out. He was being squeezed out of bounds, but he put his shoulder into the defensive player. And not sure who that short gain was by, but it brings up a 2nd down and 9.
This is a great opportunity for this group of Spartans out here right now, because the Sanborn isn't a big team size-wise, and so they're matching up right now pretty nicely.
2nd and 9. Erda gives it to the second man through. That was number 29. And I don't have 29 on our roster, and I don't have one. Spartan roster is incomplete with number 29 from Milford.
On the carry, we do not have his name on the roster.
We'll have to talk to head coach Keith Jones about that. Maybe a transfer, mid-season transfer?
Could be, yeah.
Was he the player to be named later in that trade that we made?
Maybe it's the water boy.
Third down and 2 for the Spartans. Looking to convert, keep this drive alive. Erda gives it to the up back, and short gain. Don't think he got the first down. That'll bring up another 4th down.
And a whole other group of Spartans come out in the field.
I believe that give was to number 29, and again, we're not sure who that is. Try to get that information to you as soon as we have it. wholesale substitutions, making it difficult really to track some of the players as they're shuttling in and out. We'll do the best we can for you, but our cameras are catching all the action, and moms know who their sons are when they're out there on the field, and so those sons will be watching, and they'll know who they are as well. Erda, I think he faked the dive, and he kept it himself, falling forward, and it looks like he picked up the first down. The officials are now signaling first down, Milford Spartans. Nice heady play by the freshman quarterback. I think the play was designed as a dive play to the fullback. It may have been a design play for him to keep it, but you could have fooled me.
Right, look Brady-like.
Into the game for the Milford Spartans.
Gia Evans.
Nice story, number 48, Gia Evans. One of the only female players in the state of New Hampshire at this time, a freshman on the team, a split end for the Spartans. She splits wide to the right side. Chuck Erda under center, single setback behind him. Looking for the dive man, nobody shows up, and Erda's just going to turn the corner and run to the left side. Steps out of bounds after a short gain. That was a busted play from inception. Looked for the dive back. The dive back, I'm not sure if he just missed the assignment there. Erda had nobody to hand it to, so he said, all right, I'll keep the ball, and he ran left. He's probably been watching his older brother keep the ball all season long. I mean, Gavin Erda is just the #1 running back in Division II in the state, over 850 total yards rushing for senior Gavin Erda, Chuck Erda, following in his brother's footsteps. 2nd down and 9. This time the give is a fake. Erda to the up back. Erda keeps it, tries to turn the corner left side. Short gain, maybe a yard or two. Nice sustained drive by this underclassmen offensive unit for the Spartans. Head coach Keith Jones described his team as 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense. We haven't seen that all season long. The seniors don't seem to be following that script.
They don't know it.
This underclassmen, though, seem to be listening to their head coach and doing exactly what he wants. 3-4 yards at a clip. 3rd down, four to go. This running clock, helpful. Erda off tackle right.
Still driving his legs
and moving the pile. You know when that pile is moving backwards, that's a sign of a runner who's keeping his legs moving. He's not the biggest kid. He's 5'7", 135, but he's running with momentum.
Right.
He has some momentum, and he got some momentum.
This is a great opportunity for Chuck and this team right now. Nice to see them succeed, getting some yardage down the field.
And this offensive series has chewed up almost the entirety of the 3rd quarter of play. We're under a minute to play with a 42-0 lead. Spartans 1st and goal. The give was to Kyle Boucher. He was met at the line of scrimmage.
Kyle Boucher on the carry.
Maybe lost a yard on the play. That'll be 2nd and goal.
It'll be 2nd and goal.
As we've reached the 22nd mark.
Just going to make a mention, Kevin, you made a mention that mothers know their players they see them online here. So I did get a text from a mom. Hey, Mom, number 24, listed as Brendan Chamberlain on our list, is actually number 29.
There you go. So at the end of the 3rd quarter of play, the Spartans knocking on the door. They have a 2nd and 2 from the 2-yard line. They're looking to add some points and pad their 42-point lead as we go into the 4th quarter of play. That was the fastest quarter I think we've had all season, including the second half that was a running clock at Manchester West.
Definitely, yeah.
It's only about 8:30.
Is it really? 8:30. 8:26 here.
Our media manager here at Granite Town Media tracking the time of the game. Apparently he has a date at Pasta Loft or something to get to.
Or he's looking to punch our clock early.
At our hourly rate, I can understand why. So we're going to flip ends of the field. Guess where we're going? South end of the stadium again. It's where we've been all night. We've barely been in the north end at all. Here we are, 4th quarter. Field is definitely tilted to the south tonight. Spartans scored a couple of touchdowns here in the first half, and they're knocking on the door here. 2nd, and we've changed the to-go mark. It's now 3, 2nd and 3, as we start the 4th quarter of play. 12 minutes remaining in this game. It's a Division II matchup here in the South Conference where the Spartans are looking to improve on their 5-1 record here. and solidify playoff positioning with a game next week, also at Conval. I believe Conval is a winner of only one game so far this season. And if the Spartans can hold serve here with the win here tonight and a win next week, that sets up a monstrous matchup with the Broncos of Alvern High School November 2nd right here at Spartan Stadium. The give is to the up back. Gavin turned around. Looks like the ball might be on the field. We're going to have to wait for an indication from the official. That is a fumble, and it is turned over to the Sanborn Indians. First fumble, first turnover of the night.
Right.
Spartans chewed up the entirety of the third quarter. We're knocking on the door and have turned the ball over on their 33-yard line. And the Sanborn Indians playing with pride.
Right.
You know, they know they're down big. They haven't won a game yet this season, but they didn't just let Chuck Erta turn around, hand the ball off, and let the Spartans score. They played defense on that, and you have to give head coach Alley and White a lot of credit for keeping their kids in the game and interested.
Keeping them poised. Good goal line stance on that one. But again, this is a great tune-up for the Spartans. Nice to see this group of Spartan players out there and having an opportunity to get out in the field and play.
So Duquette back under center for the Indians. 1st and 10, his 3-yard line. Duquette gives to his fullback. I believe that is Cardosa. We'll have to check the number. Short gain. And the ball carrier was, in fact, Zach Cardosa, the senior fullback for the Indians. Wholesale substitutions on the defensive side of the ball as well for the Spartans. A lot of new interior linemen. Clock running with the Spartans, 42 in hand. Indians content to huddle up. Not in a particular hurry. They're probably just, looking to work on their basic skill set as well and looking to build on things that they do well.
Right now on the Spartan side, we've changed those up as you mentioned. So we got on our ends. Right now we've got Keegan Hatch playing on the right end.
Ball is loose on the field. That's in the end zone. It's going to be interesting to see who comes up with this one. Might be a Spartan touchdown. We're not sure. Waiting for an Indian. That's a Spartan touchdown. This second defensive unit for the Milford Spartans causing some havoc in the backfield. Looked like Duquette never really had control of the snap. It looked like he took the snap, was going to drop back, roll to the right, lost control of the ball, put it on the ground in the end zone.
Right.
Spartans fall on top of it. Now it's 48-0.
Looks like Andrew Burns came up with that for the touchdown. Again, I mentioned some of the changes on our defense that we had at that point was Ben Kilgore playing on the left end, and on the right end we had Keegan Hatch. That definitely made a difference coming on that end side and allowing Andrew Burns to come in there for the fumble and catch the touchdown.
PAT is good by Colin Gregg. 49-0 is now your score. Andrew Burns was lining up as the right outside linebacker. Duquette took the snap, started rolling away from that action.
Yep.
Burns went in untouched. Nobody touched him, and he was opportunistic play, fell on the ball, in the end zone. Touchdown, Milford Spartans.
Nice to see the defense coming in and still playing poised. Our defensive ends, you teach them to not go any deeper than the ball. So again, you had I forget who we had out there on that one. Keegan Hatch. It could actually have been Drew Hodges. We apparently have two number 51s on the Spartans. So one of those 51s playing a defensive end there definitely stayed within the guidelines. Don't go deeper than the ball is, and Andrew Burns was able to come in and help make that play.
At this point, the largest margin of victory for the Spartans, although they put up 63 against the Saints of St. Thomas Aquinas, they also gave up 42 points.
Right.
This margin of victory so far, the largest the Spartans have had this season. Liam Daly's squib kick is fielded by the up back. It looks like a lineman for the Indians. Best field position for the Indians to start a drive just inside the 50-yard line, probably the 48-yard line of the Indians.
Looks like Josh Surratt on that return.
First down and 10, 8:58 to play in the fourth quarter. Ball is, in fact, spotted on the 49-yard line. Spartan seniors all standing for the balance of this game, cheering on their underclassmen teammates. Duquette under center. He turns and pitches it back to, I think that's St. Jean. We'll take a look. Nice tackle by number 51 and number 69. We have a flag on the play. Maybe a face mask. That was a late flag. Drew Hodges and
We have a unsportsmanlike.
Drew Hodges and Cam Sesterich on the tackle, but we have a penalty. Penalty is a personal foul of some type. Personal foul on the Indians. Those offsetting penalties here, actually. Personal fouls both ways.
Personal foul on both Milford.
So in football, we call those offsetting penalties. In basketball, they're penalties of equal gravity. Don't ask me why. It means exactly the same thing.
So probably a little bit of frustration on Sanborn side and a teaching moment on the Spartan side to let it go.
Loss on that last play. It'll be 2nd and 11.
Ball is spotted at the 48-yard line of the Indians. Duquette under center. Twin backfield behind him. Duquette inside handoff to St. Jean. St. Jean counter play. First down pickup for St. Jean. Nice 13, 14-yard gain by Jared St. Jean. Well-designed play in the backfield, too. Duquette turned to his left. Looked like it was going to be a simple off-tackle play to the left side. Inside handoff to St. Jean, and St. Jean run really that counter action by the backfield. I'm not sure what the line did on that, but that counter action by the backfield, pretty confusing. St. Jean, nice pickup.
Nice takedown by Tyler Hamlin. He definitely kept his head up on that one and made a nice form tackle on that.
Positive yardage for the Indians, 1st and 10. Duquette looks like he's given again to, we'll check the number. I believe that's St. Jean, but I'm not sure about that. Number, 13, that would be Adam Lepan. Lepan with a short gain. Erda on the tackle.
Chuck getting low and lowering the shoulder on that play.
Jake Monahan coming off the field limping for the Spartans, sitting down or over by the bench area. We'll have to check on his status. Duquette now under center. The give is to St. Jean. St. Jean looking to cut up inside, but he is met immediately by big number 76. 6'2", 210-pound sophomore Ben Kilgore, first man there, and he wasn't letting go.
He was not. He had a grasp on him one hand and took him down.
Like a dog with a bone. He just was not letting him go. Ben Kilgore, nice tackle. First thing he did right is he made the running back turn and cut up inside the play.
Right.
Made him turned him back where he knew he would get some help, and he got some help, but while he was waiting for the help, he just held on.
That's right, yeah. And perfectly, I'm sure Rick Erd has been talking to him all week and saying, on that defensive line, if you're playing that end, you want to go outside and back in, keep the ball no longer deeper than you are, and he turned them, like you said, turned them right back in and did not let go.
Keep that outside leverage, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be a 3rd down and 11. Duquette back to pass in the pocket, lets it go down the right side. Pass was intended for number 13, Adam Lepan. Incomplete. Chuck Erda was back there together with Trice Cody, so double coverage. Duquette, nice ball out there. Lepan looked like he was open, even though there was double coverage. It would have taken a spectacular throw to get it in there. It was a good throw, but not a spectacular throw. So 4th down for the Indians. They are in the Spartans' territory for one of the first times all night. 5 minutes to play in the game. Indians playing for pride here in a winless season and a scoreless game for Sanborn. Duquette, shotgun formation, single back to his left. Duquette, empty backfield. We have a penalty on the play. The outside receiver for the Indians, Lepan, he started running before the ball was snapped, so that's going to push the ball back another 5 yards and bring up a 4th and 16.
And that will move the ball back 5 yards. It'll be 4th and 16 for the Indians.
Indians, after sustaining one of their first and best drives of the game, are now moving in the wrong direction. 44-yard line of the Spartans. 4th and 16, might as well be 4th and 50 because they have not been effective moving the ball. They have not connected on any of their pass plays yet today. Coming into the second half, they had negative yardage on rushing plays.
Right.
I'm still relying on our statistician here, Dan Betty, to make sure that was accurate. He's giving me the thumbs up. Different play now. He was in the shotgun previously. Now he's under center. Twins in the backfield. Duquette straight back to pass. In the pocket, releases the ball to the left side. That pass was intended for number 42, Angel De La Cruz. Falls incomplete, and the Spartans will take over on downs, leading 49-0 with 3:40 to play here in the fourth quarter.
I believe you're now seeing the freshman team coming in.
So a lot of new players again, and everybody's looking to the sideline for somebody else to get on the field. Trotting out there is number 7, Nate Gagnon. It is tough when you go into a second half and you can't be sure that you're going to be winning big and that you're going to be putting in your second and third string players.
Right.
You can't be sure of that, but it is interesting to me that they're not as prepared, it seems, as you would think they would be. The give is to the second man through the hole. Erda gives it to, we'll see who we have here. That is number 29. You get to call that number again. We got texted the identity of that player.
So we got Brendan Chamberlain with the 1 yard gain.
Brendan Chamberlain.
Number 29. He already retired his number 24 shirt. Not bad as a freshman.
Telling you, moms know their sons, and they can see them from TV, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. They're going to know their sons.
And we appreciate the text, actually, to make the correction.
Timeout on the field taken by the Sanborn Regional High School Indians. 2:30 to play. Spartans have the ball, second down, and about 9.5, I suppose. Ball is spotted just shy of the 45-yard line. Dennis, that gives us a chance to talk a little bit about the Milford girls soccer team. They came in here. Their captains, the quad captains, joined us at halftime. Having a great season, 10-3-1. Beat up on Blue Knights of West High School today, 10-0. Want to thank Emmy Sullivan, Aspen Talapa, Jade Gregg, and Sid Tebow for coming and talking to us a little bit about their season. Milford sports team's doing pretty well. Volleyball team's doing great.
Right.
They're tied. I believe they're in second place in Division II in the state in volleyball.
Right. Yeah. Then had a great senior night the other night.
And the boys soccer team very competitive at 7-3-3 as well.
And they won their game today 2-1.
Clock is running here. Second down and let's call it 9.5. Erda. He keeps it. He spins off the attempted handoff. He's running off tackle left, but it looks like he's going to lose 4, maybe 5 yards on that play. That'll bring up a third down.
That may be the first Spartan loss for the night.
Might be, but the best part of that play is that the ball stayed inbounds and the clock continues to run. Head coach Keith Jones at this point, I think, just wants to get his team off this field with no injuries, take their 49-point win and say thank you and get ready for Conval.
Right, and the nice thing that you look at the Spartans is second week in a row, very little mistakes, a few things to work on, maybe tackling and maybe some other routes maybe they didn't make right, but certainly there's no loss of the ball. Again, we didn't turn over the ball this week. And
dive play up the middle for the Spartans, also going to lose some yardage there. Indian defense showing some heart here in the waning moments of this game. They stuff the dive play, and that'll bring up a fourth and looks like 12 or 13. We'll give it 13. Given the score, down distance, circumstances, and so forth, I would assume that head coach Keith Jones is going to go for it on fourth down.
From just outside the Spartan 41-yard line.
Jack Zopa wide right for the Spartans. Erda under center. Erda gives to the up back for a short gain. And the clock is now under 1 minute to play. And the defense will be stepping out onto the field for the Spartans. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Indians. Ball spotted at the 42-yard line. Question is whether they're even going to run a play. The game clock is now down to 20 seconds remaining in the game.
Sanborn looks like they're just going to walk off the field and call it.
Head coaches Josh White and Todd Alley say that they have seen enough. And at the Horn, the Spartans will improve to 6-1. And we'll wait and find out what happens to Alvern tonight, whether they keep pace and remain tied for first place, or do the Spartans take over first place in New Hampshire's Division 2 South Conference. Alvern hosting John Stark tonight. Likelihood is that Alvern takes care of business, given that John Stark is a one-win team this year.
I would think so.
Dennis, we've got Conval next week. Let's look ahead to the Conval game. What are your thoughts coming up as Milford goes on the road next week, facing a one-win team?
Right. I don't expect it to be a lot different. I'm sure there's going to be, I guess if I was a Conval team, I'd be trying to pass on this, but we saw Sanborn come in here and still run up the middle. So I guess I wouldn't expect much different from tonight.
So we want to thank all of you for joining us here on this broadcast of Granitown Media of Milford Spartan football. Join us each week during the week where we will interview head coach Keith Jones on the Spartan Coaches Corner show. We'll talk to him and members of his staff. We'll also have the Spartan Spotlight show where we talk to seniors on this Spartan team as they tell their 2019 football story throughout the season. So check out all the platforms of Granitown Media, Facebook, YouTube, as well as our broadcast channels 20 and 22 here in Milford. Dennis, want to thank you. Thank Dan Betty. We want to thank Tyler, our camera operator, Dan Betty on stats.
Thank you, Dan.
The best media manager in Granitown media history is Chris Gentry, and we want to thank him for putting us on the air. And we'll see you next week when we travel with the team to Conval for that game next week, when their 6-1 Spartans will put their record on the line at Conval. On behalf of the Milford Football Booster Club, I'm Kevin St. Ange saying thank you for your support, and go Spartans.
Have a good night.